Hi everyone, my name is Kinley Andrew. I'm the coordinator for new student and family programs. I use she, her pronouns. I'm super excited to have some folks from off-campus housing here today to talk about that experience and what you can expect when moving off campus. So I will go ahead and turn it over to them.
Awesome. All right, so I'm Justine and I work in the off-campus housing office. And let me get my screen shared. All right, so like I said, we're off-campus housing. We are a department in student engagement and campus life. So basically what our office provides is resources to those seeking a living space outside of university residence halls. And we basically provide students with the tools and resources to be able to find off-campus housing. And a common misconception is that we own and lease the properties, which unfortunately that's not the case. We just act as liaison between students and property managers. There we go. All right, so this is our website, offcampus.vt.edu. This is your one-stop shop for any housing needs that you have, and this is where we direct students a lot of the times to be able to go on there, use the housing tab, and browse listings for leases, subleases, see properties price range, find out if utilities are included. You could also see the location of the property in relation to campus, and you would sign up using your VT email to be able to find roommates. So as I said before, you can find roommates on our website. There is a roommate finder tab right next to the housing tab on our website. You can go on there, add a profile, search other Hokies profiles, and this is only available with a VT login. So when you go on there, you would take a short questionnaire, answer questions about if you're able, what you prefer basically in a roommate. So if you stay up late, you would mark that. Just any other preferences that you have, you're able to mark that on the questionnaire and it'll match you with people. Right, so this is what our availability looks like in terms of the time of the year. So between September and December, your housing search begins. This is where the option to renew for people who already live on campus or off campus is available. And this is basically when the application process starts. We always tell students that you don't necessarily have to sign that early, but bigger complexes do encourage students to sign early just because of availability. It's not always the case, so there are other options. So between January and March, this is when non-renewals are posted. So for properties that don't necessarily push leases between September and December, this is when they'll have an idea of what they have available. So I wouldn't be too concerned if you don't sign between the first time frame. And then between April and May, we start seeing a decrease in availability. And this is when we start encouraging students to really think about what they want to do for off-campus housing. And then from May to August, that's when you see that availabilities are scarce.
So when viewing your options, one of the things you should look at is whether they offer joint leases or individual leases. Joint leases just means all the roommates are on one singular lease and you guys split up all the costs. And then for individual leases, every roommate has their own lease. So everybody would be responsible for their own rent and no one else's. And this one's just a liability issue, whichever one you prefer. And other things to consider are your price range, lease dates. Most lease dates or standard leases are 12 months in Blacksburg. And then you can also look into subletting because we are only in school for 9 months out of those 12. What amenities are included and what your preferences are. So if you're looking for an apartment complex that has a gym or a pool, a clubhouse, any of that, whether utilities are included or not, the location, proximity to campus, and then transportation options, what BT routes are available, whether you can walk to campus, bike racks, etc. And then when budgeting, make sure to see how much you can pay in total a month, but keeping in mind what you're going to be spending monthly or weekly for groceries, utilities, parking fees, whether you decide to get a commuter pass or daily passes, and whether your apartment complex has in-unit laundry or if you'd be having to pay for laundry elsewhere. As far as transportation off campus, if you do decide to go the commuter parking pass options, these are the prices for last year's parking. You can choose to get the Paris Street Garage, yearly, semester, carpool, dailies, or remote. And for more information for parking, you can go to parking.vt.edu. For now, what you can do is start exploring your properties and make sure you have your wish list. Again, check down your amenities, which one you're looking for, how many rooms, bedrooms, bathrooms you're looking for, and what your budget is. And if you have any more questions, please feel free to contact us. Our phone number and email is listed. These are the best ways to reach us. Our website too, you can make appointments there. We do have very odd hours, so just shoot us an email to set up an appointment.
All right, and
Cool. Thank you so much for presenting about off-campus housing. I am going to share a little bit of information about the Blacksburg Transit because they were unable to be here today. But for our off-campus housing friends, you can hang tight or dip out of the meeting if you need to. But just wanted to give you that go ahead, basically. But thank you again. Really appreciate it. So I'm going to share my screen. So are y'all able to see the Blacksburg Transit website here? Okay, perfect. So basically, I just wanted to give like a very short and brief rundown. I by no means am the expert on Blacksburg Transit, but I did want to highlight just some of the things. As you know, moving off campus, you will likely need to utilize the Blacksburg Transit a little bit more than our friends who are on campus. But if you go to their website, it's just ridebt.org. Or if you just Google Blacksburg Transit, you can access it there. They are hiring. Blacksburg Transit is one of the highest paying student jobs, actually, and they're an equal opportunity hire or employer. And so if you're looking for student jobs, they're also a really great resource for that. But in addition, they have the following services. So they do fixed routes that or routes that operate, the same route, the same times. They're always going to be the same. So you know which bus is going to take you where. They also have some demand response services. And so if you are needing, like a reservation to take you from point A to point B, or if you have a group on campus, they do offer some demand things such as that. And then they also have event shuttles. And so they're able to offer some special services, but for the most part, those fixed routes are going to be majority of what you would be utilizing as a student. And so when you are going, there's a live map as well. And so you're able to see the routes, where they'll stop, as well as where they'll take you. And so you can actually see, if you zoom in, you can see that there's buses there. There's 0 passengers. The last stop was there, and you can see when it was last updated. And so this is a really great resource to see not only like the routes, but also where is the specific bus that I need? How full is it? I know a lot of the early morning classes, those 8 a.m.s, you try to get on the bus and they're a lot more full. So being able to plan ahead when it comes to capacity or, how soon is the next bus coming, those things are going to be of a lot of really great use. There's also a resource for routes and schedules. And so you can see all of the routes that are available. And if you click on them, let me think of like a one that makes sense. See Pokey Express. You can see all of the routes that this specific bus will be doing. And so this is one of those fixed routes where you'll know this is always where this bus is going to stop. And then it'll also highlight what time it'll stop and where that stop is going to be. And then there's up to all of these different trips for the different buses that are running on that route. And so these are just some of those main services that they're providing. And I don't actually know the name of the app. Do one of y'all know the name of the app that you can download to use the bus?
as far as I know, it's just Blacksburg Transit BT on the App Store.
Cool. Yeah. So make sure you definitely, the website is here to get a feel for what Blacksburg Transit offers. But as long as you download that app, you'll be able to see this on your phone as well. So you can leave class, open your phone, see what time the bus is going to pick you up and see where it's going to drop you off. And so you can definitely plan accordingly in that way. But I did want to touch on those things just very quickly. Is there anything like personal experience wise, if y'all wanted to share anything about the Blacksburg Transit or how it's been a resource for you.
I will say the app as well is very reliable as far as where the buses are and when the next stop will be. A good thing to note is that for like the busy times during the day, they do run every 15 minutes. And then towards the evening, I believe it's after 6, they start running every 30.
Perfect. So lots of, Justine, sorry, did you have something?
Oh, no, you're fine. So different complexes have different bus schedules. So there are some complexes that have 3 different buses running through and sometimes only 1. So that's just something to ask when you do go look for off-campus housing to see how often the buses are running through. Obviously, some neighborhoods run more than others. So depending on your schedule and what you need, that's just something to consider.
Right. I think on that note, it's also important to consider where the bus stop is, because some of the like smaller complexes might not actually have stops within or by, so you might have to walk a little bit, and especially, you know, thinking about safety reasons, and if it's late or really early in the morning, where are you going to have to walk and how far is the walk from your apartment to the bus stop. And so definitely look at that map as well if you're able to before you sign leases off campus, because that can be a huge factor. Very cool. I know we have a few guests. If y'all have any questions, would love to hear them. If not, we can call it a day, and this will be posted on the New Student and Family Programs website. And so this is a resource you can come back to visit, as well as contacting the off-campus housing office if you want to talk to them a little bit more. All right, there was a question in the chat. Is there a recommended place to live price-wise?
So I wouldn't say that our office doesn't necessarily recommend places, but we do try our best to have all of the options available. So when you give us a budget, we're able to kind of work with that and give you options based off of that. That's just kind of like an individualized thing for sure.
Also, I'll send our website in the chat now, and if you go on there, you can also narrow down your min price and your max price. If there's a budget you'd like to stay within, it'll give you some options for those as well.
I know also for me, as someone who also lives in Blacksburg and lives off campus, that spending a little bit more time actually like looking at some of the places that aren't the first ones that pop up when you search, because there are some of those larger, more luxury complexes that are really good at marketing and like search engine optimization. So they're always the same ones showing up, but there are housing options all over Blacksburg or even into Christiansburg, because I know like housing will get cheaper as you go further from campus, but then again, think about the buses and how will you get to campus. But there are definitely options within like certain budget ranges. You just might have to look a little bit harder, and definitely utilize off-campus housing as a resource, because I know that I have also used their website to find apartments that I can rent for cheaper.
Right. Yeah, I love that you said that. So one of the things that we definitely try to communicate to students is that there is housing for everybody, and try not to be discouraged when you only see the apartments that are popping up every single time you search. Like you said, they are very good at marketing. They know they have the tools and the resources to reach students, but just because other complexes don't do the same, it doesn't mean that they're any better or any worse than the ones that do have that.
Also, adding on to what you said about housing in Christiansburg, because it does get cheaper. If you are already debating on getting a commuter pass and driving to campus, then Christiansburg is probably a better option if you're looking for something cheaper and getting more out of your money.
The one-time parking fee versus the ongoing rent of living in Blacksburg. For sure. Any other questions? That was a good one. If not, no worries. Like I said, this will be posted on our website under webinars and supplemental resources, but also off-campus housing. Their office is located in Squires, and their email is listed on the presentation they gave, as well as if you just look up the website. So definitely don't be afraid to reach back out and utilize the resource much beyond just this webinar. But thank you to those people who joined, asked questions, but also to Justine and Adriana from off-campus housing. I really appreciate it. And I hope everyone has a good rest of their day.